From wise mentors who guided us to villains we love to hate, here are the Harry Potter stars who passed away. Richard Harris's Dumbledore was a portrait of grandfatherly warmth, but behind the twinkling eyes was a man already surrendering to Hodgkin's lymphoma. Diagnosed before filming, Harris endured brutal chemotherapy that left him skeletal, yet he refused to step down, insisting the role was a final gift to children who needed enchantment. When he died in 2002 at 72, the grief was raw and undeniable. His death didn't just leave a vacant chair in Hogwarts, it left the entire film community feeling like a part of the franchise was missing. The studio's swift recast felt like betrayal to many, a reminder that magic couldn't shield even Dumbledore from mortality. To this day, fans continue to debate whether his softer, more subdued take on the role might have altered the very tone of the series, shifting Dumbledore from a battle-worn general to a weary sage, guiding with quiet wisdom rather than commanding with force. Michael Gambon's Dumbledore, by contrast, was a storm in a beard. Brash, unpredictable, and unapologetically chaotic, he leaned into the character's flaws, shouting Harry into submission in Goblet of Fire with a rage that split the fandom. When he passed in 2023 at 82 from pneumonia, his performance took on new meaning. What once seemed like unpredictability now felt like something deeper, a man fighting against his own fading relevance. The discussions faded, leaving behind the image of an actor using his final years to make an unforgettable mark, however divisive. Over time, some fans came to appreciate his raw intensity, seeing Dumbledore not just as a wise leader, but as a flawed mentor who had forgotten how to be gentle. Alan Rickman's Snape, meanwhile, became a mystery that deepened after his passing. Diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in 2005, Rickman hid his illness through 8 films, letting Snape's silences stretch into agonizing voids. Every pause, every glacial glare took on new weight after his 2016 death at 69. Fans rewatched his scenes hunting for clues, a trembling hand, a strained breath, as if his performance were a cipher for his private suffering. Snape's redemption arc, once a narrative twist, now felt like Rickman's own final tribute, a man masking devotion beneath cruelty, dying with his secrets intact. Social media flooded with edits of Snape's always scenes set to Rickman's real-life interviews, blurring fiction and reality until it was impossible to separate the two. Robbie Coltrane's Hagrid was a refuge, a mountain of kindness in a world that often ridiculed his size. But Coltrane's osteoarthritis, which left him wheelchair-bound in later years, mirrored Hagrid's own physical struggles. "People see Hagrid, not me," he admitted, a confession that turned haunting when he died in 2022 at 72. Fans mourned not just the loss of Hogwarts' gentle giant, but the man who channeled a lifetime of body shaming into a role that celebrated softness. His death exposed the irony. An actor who'd spent decades hiding behind a fictional persona became most visible in his absence. At Comic-Cons, fans now cosplay Hagrid with tear-streaked faces, embracing each other a little tighter, a quiet tribute to the man who taught them gentleness is its own kind of strength. If Hagrid's gentleness was armor, Narcissa Malfoy's icy poise was a blade. McCrory filmed her character's pivotal lie to Voldemort while privately undergoing chemotherapy, her steely gaze masking the toll of breast cancer. When she died in 2021 at 52, fans dissected that scene anew. The slight tremor in her hand as she checked Harry's pulse, the barely perceptible crack in her voice when she declared him dead. Her calculated deception was really a mother's desperate sacrifice to protect her child. McCrory's death didn't just steal a villain, it robbed audiences of an artist who had perfected the art of turning pain into power. Tributes poured in from co-stars, but the most haunting homage was in the scripts she left unfinished, roles that, like Narcissa, would forever hover between truth and illusion. At her memorial, a lone white peacock wandered the gardens, a final, graceful tribute, almost as if Narcissa herself had orchestrated one last elegant goodbye. McCrory's quiet exit found a reflection in John Hurt's Ollivander, whose hushed words about wand lore now carried an almost prophetic weight. Diagnosed with pancreatic cancer during filming, Hurt delivered lines like, "The wand chooses the wizard," with a strain in his voice that revealed the toll time had taken on him. Crew members remembered him gripping props for support, his hands shaking slightly as he handed a wand to Daniel Radcliffe. When he passed in 2017 at 77, fans rewatched his scenes with a different perspective. His frailty wasn't just acting, it gave Ollivander an almost haunting wisdom, as if he understood his own time was running out. Just like the young heroes, he prepared for battle. Hurt's final performance became a masterclass in dignity, a man clinging to his craft even as his body betrayed him. The studio's tribute reel featured Ollivander's shop, now eerily empty, as if the wand maker had finally chosen his own exit. Fans began leaving their own wands at theaters, tiny memorials to the man who made them believe in destiny. Hurt's quiet unraveling contrasted sharply with Robert Hardy's Cornelius Fudge, a man who clung to delusion like a life raft. Hardy, who died in 2017 at 91 from dementia, infused the Minister of Magic with the desperation of someone who'd studied greatness, but settled for denial. His Fudge wasn't just misguided, he was a reflection of real-world leaders who gaslight entire nations to preserve their egos. Hardy's own declining health made the role feel even more tragic. After years of playing strong, Churchill-like figures, he ended his career embodying the vulnerability of a fading legacy. His death wasn't just an end, it was a warning about the cost of refusing to see the truth. At his funeral, former co-stars read lines from Harry Potter scripts, their voices breaking on Fudge's denials, a final, uncomfortable echo. If Fudge's denial was tragedy, Leslie Phillips' Sorting Hat was comedy as defiance. The voice behind the headpiece delivered Gryffindor with the wink of a man who'd survived World War II, only to laugh at death's face. Phillips, who died in 2022 at 98, turned the hat's rhymes into a middle finger to the trauma he'd witnessed as a soldier. Co-stars recalled him cracking jokes between takes, his lightheartedness hiding the arthritis that slowly wore down his hands. His death didn't just silence a voice, it was the end of a man who had weaponized humor to outlast darkness. Tributes flooded in with memes of the hat singing at heaven's gates, a fitting farewell for an actor who'd turned survival into art. At a London theater, ushers still place a dusty top hat on an empty seat, their inside joke for the man who refused to let tragedy have the last word. Phillips' laughter found its counterpoint in Roger Lloyd Pack's Barty Crouch Sr., a bureaucrat crumbling under his own rigidity. Diagnosed with pancreatic cancer during filming, Pack mirrored his character's obsession with control, refusing treatment to go out on his terms. When he died in 2014 at 69, fans revisited his scenes, the hollow stare as he disowned his son, the robotic adherence to rules, and saw a man scripting his own demise. Pack's death, like Crouch's, was a lesson in futility. Even the strictest plans can't outmaneuver fate. His final interview, weeks before his death, revealed a man at peace with irony. "I played a man who loved rules," he said, "but dying, there's no manual for that." Much like Barty Crouch Sr., Richard Griffiths' character was instantly disliked. Richard Griffiths played Uncle Vernon, the loud and grumpy man who hated magic. But in real life, he was a kind and talented actor who knew how to take over a scene. He passed away in 2013 at 65 due to heart surgery complications, leaving behind a void in the film industry. After his death, fans saw his performance in a new way, not just as a mean uncle, but as a man hiding his fear behind anger. Though he played Harry's biggest bully, those who knew him remembered him as warm, funny, and full of kindness. Though they are gone, their magic lives on in every spell, every story, and every unforgettable moment on screen.